What's up, everybody? It's your boy Plays here, and I'm back with some more YouTube reactions for you guys. So today we're checking out testing the Switch 2 on a 16:9 CRT. Obviously 16:9 is the aspect ratio. Tech people, we know this. Come on. I had one of these back in the day, but it was a Sharp or a Panasonic. I don't remember, but it was the same silver color. We ended up giving it to my grandma. But anyway, we're gonna see how the Switch 2 looks on CRT. According to this title, it's glorious. So before we get into this, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all of that good stuff. Follow my socials, my TikTok, Instagram, and Discord. They'll be in the description. I can get more views, likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, money, cloud, fame, success, and I can stop being a bum. Let's get into it.
Is a CRT really the best way to play the Nintendo Switch 2? No, not really. But does it look awesome? Yeah. Yeah, it does. Hey everyone, Zion over here from Nintendo Life. So lately I've become...
Zion? Shouldn't it be pronounced Zion? You know what? It's your name. I'm not even gonna do that.
CRT TVs. I've already got a few in my place. I've got 2 in my backdrop. I've got 1 in my game room over there. And over the years, there have been a few times where I've hooked up an original Nintendo Switch to it to play some classic games like Sonic Mania, Celeste. And it always looks wonky. The aspect ratio isn't accurate, which is why I've always wanted a widescreen CRT that displays in 16:9. Recently, my mom caught wind of my CRT obsession and asked me, hey, would you want a big TV? So I said, can you send me a picture? I never would have imagined that she would have found me something this cool and that I could get my Switch 2 actually running on it. Now, if you're curious why I'd even want to do this, why I would want to set up a Nintendo Switch 2 on something like this, you're obviously not a sicko like me. And I know there's a lot of you out there that want to play a Switch 2 on a retro TV. And while it wasn't a difficult process, there were a lot of random little hoops that I had to jump through. A lot of things that had me wanting to pull my hair out, so I'm gonna break it all down here. And no,
Don't do that. Your hair is nice. And yes, it's weird that you want to do this. I've never wanted to do this, but the ironic thing is, seeing him do it now, I want to do it just a little. Also, I didn't realize the dock was up here. I don't think that's a good place to put your thing, bro.
we're not going to be using one of these. I tried it, it sucks. We have the proper method. Now, the first thing I'll say is, man, this TV is so heavy. There's no way I could have carried this all the way up into my apartment by myself. Thankfully, my brother came over yesterday, and it was a long haul from the garage up into the building with many, many breaks, but we managed to do it together. My back hurts only a little bit today, but if you're planning on picking up something like this from someone on Facebook or at a garage sale, just get a friend to help you. There's no way that you should be carrying something like this by yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So this TV
They're super
is about
heavy.
26, 27 inches. It's probably like 100 pounds. There are some handles on the side here that definitely help, but you shouldn't try to carry this by yourself. Please don't do that. Now, I know there are some widescreen CRTs out there that actually do have HDMI inputs in them. This one, however, doesn't. It only has a DVI input. Now, thankfully, I'm the kind of person that has a huge bin of cords all separated in large Ziploc bags. I've got one for USB cables, HDMI, power cables, you name it.
I used to have something like this, but not that many cables. But yeah, this is really... I like how he puts them away. This bag needs to be changed though, because it's ripping, and it's only going to tear more and more.
I actually had an HDMI to DVI cable in there.
Also, this pixel games do look really good on this. This is nice.
So I plugged it into my Switch 2. I even tested it with the Switch 1 and I couldn't figure it out. I was using the input button on the front and hopping through all of the different inputs. There are a bunch of AV and there's even a component input on this TV. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to work. So very quickly after that, I got frustrated and I went and grabbed this just as a failsafe. This is an HDMI to AV adapter. And I was able to get it to display on the TV here, but let me show you how it looked. It looked bad. So you can see on something like this on Scott Pilgrim here, the colors look really washed out. Everything, like even when I was playing a little bit of Deltarune last night, there was quite a bit of like ghosting with the characters. But if we hop to the menu here, you can actually see that like the lines on the side here aren't straight. They've got like a weird...
Yep, I see the curvature right here. Right here. And then it's, yeah, right where he's pointing right here. There it is again. You can kind of see it on this as well, but it's more pronounced on this because
Little
it's the
jagged
highlighted
edge.
game.
Yesterday when I hooked it up with this AV adapter, everything on top looked like super wavy. It was really bizarre. So I guess it's gonna vary. You can also see the screen is the aspect ratio isn't like proper. It's like stretched on the screen.
Yeah, because the Joy-Con icons on screen are kind of like cut off at the bottom part. Yeah, I noticed that too. And the icons for, I'm guessing, the user accounts is kind of too close to the edge. As in, it's right on the edge. Oh, and also the battery itself. I didn't even realize that until just now. It's kind of cut off. So yeah, you probably need a remote to reset that, which I'm sure you'll probably fix it during the course of this video. I'm assuming.
Is you can go in and adjust a bunch of system settings. We'll do that a little bit later, and I'll show you what I all went through. So what happened though was yesterday when I hooked up the DVI cable, I was only able to bot through a few different video settings by using the button here. But then I switched to the remote. I went to the input list, and I was able to find the DVI right there. I got so deep in the weeds of trying to figure this out that I actually looked up the TV's model number, and I found the manual online that some website had kindly uploaded scans of, and I was trying to figure out how to switch to DVI. It was ridiculous, and then finally I just pulled the remote out, and that did the trick. Now, one thing you might notice actually is the sound of the TV is on, but there's nothing coming out of it, and that's because DVI actually doesn't transfer any sound at all. You still need something else to do that. Thankfully though, I had a cable for it. I have an audio cable right here. It's got the left and the right, the white and the red, and then it actually goes to a 3.5mm headphone jack. This cable, it didn't work as good as I hoped. Let me show you what happens. You actually should have a DVI audio input on the back. So you'll plug the left and right into that, and then you'll plug the 3.5mm jack into the top of your switch too. So now that we have that cable plugged in, we actually have sound on the TV. It sounds fine. There's quite a loud whining sound, but I do have the TV volume turned up to 50 right now. But the problem I really had was when I booted up Breath of the Wild and tried to play that. Just listen to this. Can you hear that like humming sound? It doesn't sound so bad today.
Yeah, we hear it.
But yesterday it was rough. Here you've got another weird high-pitched humming sound.
You know, I feel like that could be a symptom of just how much electricity is just flowing in that TV, and then how ancient the technology is, all those tubes, cathode rays, blah, blah, blah. You know, the type of stuff that they use in those older display technologies.
So
I'm sure you'll fix it, though.
So what I've done is gone and unplugged that, and I've taken these Logitech computer speakers that I actually found at a garage sale for $1, and I've plugged those in, and I actually have them hidden around the side of the TV here, just right on the back of the shelf. There's one on each side, and I've misplaced the cable. Oh, there it is. Now I've plugged that into the switch too. I have the volume cranked up pretty loud, and it sounds great. No humming. The speakers of the TV have been silenced. You do need another power cord for something like this, but I'm giving this technology purpose once again. It feels great. Now listen to that. No buzz, no humming. It sounds perfect. Now you also want to go into the settings and adjust a few different things here as far as the display goes. You'll notice that obviously the screen is stretched. From here you can actually adjust the screen size in the settings. I'm going to turn it all the way down to 90, which is as low as it goes. You can see I almost wish I could turn it down a little bit more because some of the screen's going to be cut off, but it's actually, it doesn't look so bad, right? Everything that you need is right there off, but
yeah, that's way better, because see, now all of the UI elements are there, and well, I mean, they were there before, but they're not cut off is what I meant to say. Yeah, looks good. I can't tell if it's from the angle I'm seeing it at, but there's more of a gap here than there is here, and there's more of a gap here than is here, but I don't know if it's like misaligned, but I didn't see a setting to like center it, so I don't know.
Right? Everything that you need is right there, invisible. It's still pretty good. Now,
like I said, it could just be the angle that I'm seeing it from, but
this
I don't know.
Samsung TV is from 2004. It displays in 480, 720, and 1080. But in 1080, it actually only displays up to 1080i. It doesn't do 1080.
Yeah, the TV beside me that I use my PS4 with also only does up to 1080i, but that's from the 2010s. This is actually a flat screen. Not as flat as the new ones, but it's a flat screen. It's still way more modern than this, even though it's ancient tech
The TV
still.
does do 720p though. So that's why if you go into your settings, you actually want to make sure that if you're trying to use a CRT with it and you're having display issues, you want to make sure that your TV resolution is set up to automatic. Because once I actually hooked this up to the TV, the Switch 2 and the TV were able to kind of talk to each other and recognize, hey, the TV can only display in 720p. The Switch 2 can only do 1080p. It can't do 1080i. While you're in here, you can also mess with the RGB range. That was set to automatically for me, but I switched it to full range, and I feel like you get a bit more color, a bit more brightness by doing that. Now, after all that finagling, I finally had my Switch 2 set up and working competently on this CRT here. So I played a little Breath of the Wild, and I dove back into Deltarune. And I've been taking my time with that game, and I found myself sitting here late in the night, right in front of the TV, making progress. I even managed to take down a big boss that I was previously struggling with. I had all the lights off, my cat Navi was sleeping in her bed near me, and the time just flew by. I felt so connected to the game I was playing. And I'm not saying that you can't feel that connected to a normal TV. Maybe part of it is the sheer size of a TV like this, the low humming sound that it makes. Maybe it's the scan lines, or maybe it's the fact that I spent the first 15 years of my life playing video games on a CRT similar to this, not widescreen, but with scan lines that
makes sense given your age.
It feels right for certain kinds of games. I love the folders groups function that the Nintendo Switch 1 has and the Switch 2. I'm always sorting out my games. So I made a list of all of these different games that I think would look really, really good on an original CRT. Stuff like Cave Story.
You know, I'd really love to see how Cyberpunk would look on this. I'm hoping he launches that, but I feel like he won't.
Pro Country, F-Zero 99 playing online with people, Loop Hero, the Lunar Remastered Collection. There are games like Signalis, A Short Hike, Celeste, Scott Pilgrim that evoke that certain style that was really prominent in the 90s and the early 2000s. And I think a lot of games like that will look great on a CRT that's widescreen. And that being said, has me just about ready to buy a second Nintendo Switch 2 dock and power cable and everything and leave it permanently hooked up to this in my other room, so that way I can go in there and pull the chair all the way up to the TV and sit in front of it with a bag of chips and a soda pop and play some of these modern games in this style again. And I suppose it is nostalgia. It is that thing that I'm constantly searching for. Now that I'm older, I want to be able to sit around and play games like I did when I was a kid without anything else to worry about, nothing pulling me away. And I love playing on modern displays, but I also enjoy switching over to something weird like this from time to time. Even the classic libraries that Nintendo offers through the Nintendo Switch Online app look great here as well. Plus, with playing them on a Switch 2, you now have the rewind features, you've got save states, and they still look like you're playing on a CRT because you are. And I died, so let's rewind. Let's back that up just
These retro games are perfect to play this on.
a second. So then with games like Soul Calibur 2 here, you can actually play them 16:9 widescreen natively. Now, I was really excited to try out some newer games like Street Fighter 6 and Cyberpunk on this.
Yes, I mean, it sounds like he's going to do it. Finally, I'm getting what I wanted.
But you can see even here with Street Fighter, it can be really hard to make out the text. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's really hard to read. People always complain about like handhelds, particularly the handheld PCs, because they're playing PC games that are meant for big screens on a like usually 7-inch screen. That's most of them are in the 7-inch range. Obviously, you have that Legion Go, which is 8 point whatever. But most of them are in the 7 range. And people always say the text is too small, which, yeah, it is small, but I've never had a problem reading it. But now, I can definitively say, yeah, I can see the scaling reading issue being a thing now. But it's funny because now it's on a screen that's even bigger than the PC handhelds. But obviously, you know, it being this ancient and having that low of a resolution and just being CRT in general has to be expected.
That says my name up there, but then I have no idea what that says. Now, some games do have some accessibility settings where you can increase the size of text. You can actually adjust the text within the Switch 2 settings internally for the home menu, but it doesn't actually translate into the games themselves. It has to be a game-by-game basis. Breath of the Wild, for example, has no adjustments for text settings, so you're just kind of stuck with what is on screen. Now, Street Fighter 6 here doesn't seem to have any accessibility options. I'm going to check Cyberpunk in a sec, but I imagine Cyberpunk will have some kind of option. It reminds me of when I tried playing Dead Rising on a CRT back in the day, and the text was so tiny. I think Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts had some issues like that too, but Banjo did eventually release an update where you could adjust the size of the text if you were playing on a smaller 480i screen. See, I think with a case like Street Fighter 6 here, I would almost just prefer to play this on a more modern display. I think it's just because of like the pixels, and there's a lot of detail just lost in the background. I think it would be fun to play this with some friends if I saw someone have it set up at a gaming convention or a tournament or something, but I think playing Street Fighter 6 regularly on a CRT like this, I don't think is the play. But
It's really not, and I think you're starting to realize how crazy this ambition of yours is. But given off of how you look in this freeze frame right now, you're probably going to try and justify why you did it in the first place.
Fans out there would love to do this regularly. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think. So here's an instance of a modern game that I think.
Finally, the moment of truth.
Really
Let's go.
cool. This is Cyberpunk running on Switch 2 here. I think it helps that the colors pop so well and the blacks are so dark. It's like the OLED effect, basically. And the text isn't too hard to read. Here you can see it says find Kirk on the second floor, the street kid. But let's actually
I'm seeing Kirk too.
There's probably some display settings. Accessibility, text size, here we go. Okay, so I think it's a little bit easier to read, but it's still like, I was at the hospital today. Like, it's tough. This is not the way to play, but it looks awesome. Maybe like if you already know what you're doing, or maybe there are some other settings that I can turn on. Well, actually the subtitles now, those are really easy to read. Maybe don't trash your HD 4K 120 hertz display to play on a CRT, but if you find one of these in the wild, it could be a really fun way to...
I know you're being sarcastic, but yeah, nobody's finna do that. And would anybody find one of these out in the wild? I'm wondering. I don't think so. Well, I can't say no. Anything is possible.
Get it set up. These TVs can also be pretty hard to find nowadays. I think it's probably due to the fact that, like I said, this TV came out in 2004, which is probably around the time where, I guess maybe 2005, 2006 is where flat screens really started taking over.
2004 is also the year GTA San Andreas, one of the greatest games of that generation.
The PlayStation 3 came out in 2006, 360 was 2005. So these kind of TVs weren't really on the shelf for very long. They probably weren't being produced for very long. So there's just less of these out and about. So if you find one, it could be pretty expensive. I'm very fortunate that my mom found this. I'm not sure if I mentioned yet. She found this for free. I've still left the sticker on the top of the TV here. I might not honestly ever remove it. It says free works. Awesome. Thanks again, Mom. I love this so much. So let me know in the comments down below if you genuinely think I'm a weird sicko that likes to play his Nintendo Switch 2 on outdated hardware and is wasting his time playing old games that look like this. I should be playing.
Outdated is an understatement. Ancient hardware.
Fortnite and Madden. No, if you made it to the end of the video, you probably don't feel that way. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you own a TV like this yourself, if you've ever tried connecting a Nintendo Switch or Switch 2 maybe now to a CRT TV, or if you're gonna go out and about and try and hunt for one of these. Honestly, my best advice, go garage sailing, just ask people. Ask people if they have one laying around in their basement. A lot of recycling centers charge people to take these away now. Like my local recycling center charges 50 cents a pound. So a TV like this might cost someone $50 just to recycle it. So if you can take it off their hands for free or toss them 10, 20 bucks, you might make them really happy and you might get yourself something really cool. You can also check with your local recycling centers as well and see if they might have something laying around. They might have a policy where once it enters their building, they're maybe not legally able to sell it to you, but maybe there'll be some kind of loophole that they can still try to help you out. So just be a good person and maybe good things will come back to you. And honestly, let me know down the road if you do find one or if you ever have questions about CRTs. I don't know much as far as repairing these go. I love seeing online when people find a good deal on one, or they manage to fix something themselves, or they find one that they've desperately been looking for years
Or as it pertains to repairing, just throw it away. It's too complex. Just throw it
Let me know if I
away.
can ever help, and let me know if you just want someone to celebrate with you and congratulate you. I will totally be there to give you a digital high five. And of course, if you
Been eating this
enjoyed this
donut
video
for the
and you want to see
longest
more
time.
videos like this, why don't you click on that subscribe button in a 16:9 720p
I think I'm already
CRT
subscribed to this
aspect
channel.
ratio, and then ring that notification bell to be notified
Oh, I'm
whenever
not.
we put up new
Okay.
videos like this.
Well, I
Thank
will
you all
then.
so much for watching. I'm Zian from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all next time.
I love that outro. I think it's the intro as well. Let me just see briefly what the comments are saying. Gamer, I bought the CRT, picking it up this afternoon. Could you help me? Friends, family, we are out of the country and we no longer know you. I owe my friends and family so much to Zion. Alright, let's... Balatron CRT is so fitting, yes. I think Scott Pilgrim looked the best, though. I'm something of a CRT man myself. I'm something of a CRTist myself. Being that TV, some would say it's TV time. That humming noise is probably a ground loop of some kind, might be fixed by plugging your switch or your TV in a different outlet, or if your TV has one of those power cables that's also on most PCs. Is the device called a hum? No, yes, really, that musicians use to get rid of that type of humming. Okay, alright, well, it was an interesting video. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.